What does one say to an ancient Nephilim ghost?
I suppose you start with...
I could do this all day.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on YouTube? It's Filthy. And we're back with another Diablo 3 video. This is going to be a leveling playthrough, leveling guide for Season 35. You can use it for any season. Season theme does not impact this. What we're going to do is we're just going to talk you through the process of how to get to a 6-piece set bonus for any set that you want in the game as quickly as possible. The one that is the free Hadrix for the season. Now, to do this, you are going to need the Necromancer pack. To do this, it's going to be quite difficult on console because of the way damage scaling works. It's going to be hard to do on PC, but it is the fastest way. And I think like a 2-hour time frame to get full season journey done is about right. Now, we're going to make the Necro. We're going to beat the season journey to get the 6-piece Hadrix that we want on the Necro. We're just then going to open them on the next class that we want to play. So if we want to play a Barbarian, we just make a level 1 Barb, open our Hadrix, we get Barb pieces in it. Because of the Altar of Rites Node 2, which I will explain as we go, that means we can put on our 6-piece Whirlwind set for Season 35, or whatever it is, and then we can power level ourselves in like 10 minutes on Torment 6. But to start this process off, we need a Necromancer, because Necro will have the easiest time doing the first most important task, which is going to be doing a Torment 1 set of bounties. Before we get going, guys, as always, a thumbs up brightens my day. So let's pop on a pet and some wings and we should be ready to go. Now, you can beat the Challenge Rift if you want, but this is not going to be using the Challenge Rift cash. We're going to save that. If you use your Challenge Rift cash, everything is, of course, going to be easy. First step is we want to hire the Templar because we don't want to forget to do that. We want to steal his stuff. We want to put the weapon on because it does way more damage than R1. We're then going to steal the bow from the Scoundrel. We do not want to talk to the Enchantress. The level, I think, is level 11 for her weapon getting super powered. I have heard level 9, but I'm not sure. So what we're doing here is we're just salvaging those 2 pieces that we stole from the Follower. Unfortunately, he's got no weapon now. We will give him his Javelin back if we remember, but ultimately his experience is going to be miserable on leveling. He's going to die quite a lot. Next step is we go up here and we unlock with those bits that we've just gone the first seal in the altar. This will double our kill streak duration and XP, so when we massacre bonus level, it's going to be so much easier. Next step is we're going to check to see that we've got Zoltan Cool in Act 2 as a boss bounty. This is absolutely essential. You cannot... Well, you probably could do this on another strategy, but it'd be really, really hard. Zoltan Cool is the easiest boss. We're just going to keep remaking the game until we get him. 1 in 4 chance every time the game opens up that we're going to get Zoltan Cool. He is killable on Torment 1 with a Necromancer. Other classes probably could do it, but Necro gets Corpse Explosion at level 4, which when we get there, you'll see just does tons of AoE damage and makes doing these Torment 1 bounties possible. Not easy, we will die a lot. So ultimately, if you are going to be doing hardcore, this is not something I would recommend. Well, I think we'll probably die like 5 times, maybe more doing this. But what we're doing now, resetting the game over and over again until we get Zoltan Cool. So it's just going to take a bit of time. And there we go, we've got Zoltan Cool only a few games later. Now, this is a fight that is doable with a little bit of practice. If you stand there and face tank him, you will die. So what you need to do is the map is in a lovely little semicircle for us. So we're just going to try and kill one of his adds. That'll level us up to level 2. The AoE explosion might harm him and the other gigantic add thing. And then we'll get Bone Spear and then we'll do a bit more damage. Try and avoid the fireball if you can. He will lock you in that like kind of like slowing mechanic bubble thing that's like the Veers bubble, and that just makes it very hard to avoid his stuff. Sometimes, look, it happens like this, the adds are stupid and they get stuck on the side, but you can always run around the other way. But we kind of just want to focus on one of them, so we don't want to be attacking like Zoltan Cool. We just want to try and burn down one of the adds because the little explosion will help us out, and then as I say, we get Bone Spear, we do a bit more damage, but just in general, stay the hell away from him. That cycling thing will kill you real fast, so you want to avoid that. The stuff falls from the ceiling, again, you want to avoid that. We just have to do this. So there we go, the explosion clipped a little bit. We've now got access to Bone Spin. You can see how much more damage that does. than our generator, and he should be really reasonably easy once you've leveled up to level 3, because he stays at the level that he started in the fight, which means that we probably can just face tank him now. And we'll be level 4 and have corpse explosion once we've killed him. Now, if we're lucky, he'll drop us some good stuff. Not so much there. Now, this diabolic hood, leave. We really want to leave. The goal is to leave that until level 18. Okay. The reason for that is at level 18 it can drop diamonds, which is the next thing we need for the Altar of Rights. Now, these bounties sometimes are awful. Desolate Sands is an awful one here with the Ancient Devices. That's a really bad one. We're going to pick this Temple of the Firstborn one because it's a pretty easy area. Our next goal is to get to level 11 so that we can use the Enchantress weapon. If we have to, we can come back and pop this chest here. It might have some useful gear in for us. But the goal is going to be to try and not use that. So all we have to do is kill the first enemy and we pop Corpse Explosion. Automatically selected for us. These enemies, you just need to kind of like kite them back into the corpses so you can blow them up. Now, we're going to leave that there. That's potentially usable later. And sorry, we should be trying to keep up our massacre bonus here as we go, just so that we can gain some levels. Because as I said, we really want to get that level 11 for the weapon. And also we want to unlock the golem, which I think is level 13. And that's going to help us because the golem will generate corpses for free for us, so long as it's not dead. And that will help us blow stuff up. So just got to try and move the enemies back into these corpses. And this is kind of the strategy. If we can keep the bonus up, great. It looks like we're going to have to go round and round. Now we may as well train the follower up so he can heal, provided he's not dead. The thing that's going to make the difference in this early part of the game is basically whether we find items. If we find items that help us, like things with plus intelligence, plus vitality, that's going to make this easier. If we get crap luck and find like Demon Hunter dexterity cloaks, then that is no good. But as you can see, with the Corpse Explosion, we can do a decent amount of damage. We just need enemies to kill. So whenever I see a little chest, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to grab it. Because you never know what's going to be inside. Now, we've just unlocked skeletons. Skeletons are good. They will essentially be a little bit of a meat shield once they've spawned. And that's good. So we're only one level away now from getting our weapon. We're going to have to go back to town to pick it up. You probably want to pre-select auto-equip for gear, which I've got turned off at the moment. That will just automatically put on anything on for you. But other than that, just open your inventory right on the mouse and it will swap on your stuff for you. What have we got there? Attack speed bonus. That'll help us out with the little skellies. They'll attack a little bit quicker. But as you can see, we are struggling to kill stuff, and we just need the one corpse really. And you should try and swap your runes when you can't unfortunately change them whilst you're in a battle like this. But we want to get Blighted Marrow on our Bone Spear as soon as we can. We also want to get on the Sudden Impact rune on the Bone Spear, because the Sudden Impact rune will do a stun for us, which is great for a defensive type thing. And the Bone Spear, Blighted Marrow, just does more damage the more it goes through. We picked up a weapon as well. It's not one that we can use, unfortunately. But we are now level 11. So let's put on Sudden Impact. Let's put on Blighted Marrow. We can get a passive. We can either pick Move Speed or generate Health Globes. I think Health Globes is more useful because we're still on Torment 1. We've got 3 pieces of gear and it's going to be quite hard. That's what she said. We're also going to train up the Templar for the next thing. The Enchantress is in this right-hand corner. Is she? No, the bottom. Here we go. So, as we can see, 38.5 damage as opposed to 8.4, 361%. Thank you very much. Mr. Follower, you can have your little spear back. Probably doesn't make any difference, but in fact, unfortunately, we can't salvage it, I don't think. Oh, we can, can't we? So we do want to keep that off him, because that's worth some reusable parts, which we'll use later. So sorry, Cormac, but you don't get a weapon. And here we are at, I was going to say here we are at the event. This could be the boss spawn bit. Were we supposed to go like down? Have I gone the wrong way? I think we might have gone the wrong way. Yeah, so maybe it's down here somewhere. So rather than walk all the way back, let's go and go back to the start. I mean, that was the bounty. What are you talking about, dude? Right, on to the next one. We're going to go to the Howling Plateau next. I don't really see any advantages to what order we're going to do these, but let's mop up the rest of these bounties. At this point, for the next couple of levels should be quite easy with our level 11 weapon. It's when we start getting a little bit further away from our power that this is going to be a bit more difficult. But once we get one more level, we get the golem, and that will help. So as you can see, we are getting completely one-shot by stuff. If you end up in a bounty or an area that you just think is a little bit too hard for your character, try the other ones first. Try not to quit, because if you can get this set of bounties done, it's going to help level us so fast. And we've got to do a set of bounties anyway, so at least if one of them is done, then part of our 6-piece season journey is also completed. Right, level 13, so on goes Command Golem. We just got that in time. We're going to put the skeletons back as soon as we get another skill, because they are useful as a meat shield. But the golem, we can do that with. We can just chuck him down, and he is an on-demand pile of corpses, and that is very helpful, because corpse explosion is just ridiculously OP for leveling. Its only downside, it actually requires a corpse. At level 39, we can help generate corpses ourselves by putting on teleport with the rune that allows us to drop a corpse when we teleport. But that's a little bit of a way off. Any white item we wish to pick up, because we're going to break them down for reusable parts, and as part of our strategy later, we will be able to convert those into the cube, which will allow crafting of multiple level 70 items. Now, any kind of elite like this is going to be a pain in the arse. There's just nothing we can say to it. If we can not get double elites, that would be handy, but sometimes these things happen. We're probably going to take a death here, because Vortex is super annoying. Flies are super annoying. We could really do with finding some little crappy enemies to blow them up. Right, now we've got another skill, so we could put the skeletons back on. Unfortunately, we have to wait until we are no longer in battle. Right, so we've got the main enemy dead, but we're also dead. But we've got the golem back, so long as the golem doesn't die, we've done a good chunk of damage on these flying things. There we go. We've got a ring. Pretty crap. We really want intelligence and damage. They're the things that we want. Right, so we're going to take a little break here. Well, that's what I was intending to do. It is hard to change your skills whilst doing the bounties, and it's hard to remember everything as well. Get the golem back. Maybe we can blow this dude up. Not quite. Unfortunately, the elites are extremely annoying because they take ages to kill. Okay, we'll grab the XP shrine. We can train the follower up again. We just need 14 more enemies killed, and we need to remember to put the skeletons back on for the meat shield. But let's do let's do that now before we forget. So go, command skeletons. Some bounties are kill 100 enemies, 150 enemies. Some of them are literally just walk over here right by the waypoints. It's a bit of a lottery. I tend to think this phase takes about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Really bad run, maybe half an hour if you get stuck a few times. But that's done. So we'll go on to the next one, clear the western channel. This one can be nasty. There are quite a lot of elites generally spawn in here, but we'll give it a go and see how we do. So for one like this, where it's get to the second level, you want to just try and run past everything if you can. So you're going to use your left click, which is your stun, to just kind of like take them out. There's no point fighting them. We just want to get this set of bounties done, really. We could massacre bonus, but we're not going to. We're going to open chests to grab stuff. Aside from that, we're going to be chicken shit and just leg through it. We picked up a nice pair of gloves there. They're a good 20% damage increase. That's going to be massive for us. We're going to try and ignore that elite, because again, we're just going to waste time fighting it. So we're going to skippy skips. And again, don't be afraid to use your golem if you end up in like a big group of stuff like that. Now this is amazing. Look here, guys. This is it. You need to be on the lookout for stuff like this. This is a gem goblin. We only have to hit this little guy, and he will drop gems. We need him to drop 2 diamonds, and then we don't have to worry about going back to that Zolan cool thing. Unfortunately, we've taken a death. Can we get back in just quick before he jumps through the thing? Can we? We can. We're lucky. I think maybe he's dropped a second one. Bad luck the elite is here. That does make this harder. But there we go. We've got the 2 diamonds. We can stop probably hitting him now. Let's drop the golem. Right, there we go. Okay, we got the Spear of Gyro, which is going to be handy because this boosts up pet damage. I believe 8.3%. Thorns is increased by every enemy affected by one of your curses. That does no damage, but it's got 80% toughness. It's happy days. Chuck on the shoulders, chuck on the hat. And as you can see, we're now at the point where this is probably going to be getting a little bit easier because we've actually found some gear. Completing these last couple of bounties should not be too bad. We'll ignore the elite, go on to level 2. Now, what we could do, not all of you are going to find a goblin that does gems. So what we're going to do is we'll pretend that we haven't found that, but we could go back now to the Zoltan Cool area once we've finished this bounty, pop the chest and get the items outside of it. We can do that anyway from 18 because we were waiting for those diamonds, if you remember. So let's grab Pool of Reflection, and once we get to 20, we're going to put on another passive, which is going to be the one that reduces the cooldown on the golem. Unfortunately, we're not CC immune because we, of course, reset the Altar of Rights every season, and CC immunity is just makes this game more fun. Gotta be honest. Right, we have to kill that elite. We don't need to stand in the explosion, but there we go. So I think that's probably death 5 already. I think we've already hit our death limit, what I suggested. A 40% toughness pair of gloves is going to help with that, as is 15% on the chest plate. So that should be the last death that we take. Now, if you do hit a Bloodshot Goblin, you want to go back and make another level 1 Necro. Delete a character space if you have to. And what that will do is it will allow you to roll your gloves at Kadala and get the Grasp of Essence. Alright, onto the Dalga Oasis, which is the last one, which is not bad. We've been going 20 minutes and we've stopped to explain a few things, so not too bad. We've got Bone Armor now. This is a 30% damage reduction once we get it to 10 stacks, 3% per stack. So this is very useful, and we probably should change the rune on the golem as well to Flesh Golem, which just gives more corpses. But again, it's on cooldown, so I can't change it at the moment. But again, that is on the list to be done. But as you can see, with those toughness items we picked up, we can actually kind of stand in crap now, which makes life a lot easier. Not that we should, but we can do. Right, I promise we won't die again. Promise. Right, now what we're going to do is we're going to actually go back and grab the Zoltan Cool chest, just because I think it's going to help speed this bit up a little bit. And also it'll show you before I forget. So let's say we hadn't found the Blood Goblin, oh sorry, the Goblin with the gems, then we could come back here to the Soul Chamber now that we're post level 18, and we can open this. This will have like level 20 stuff in it, so we might get some good gear, and it will hopefully drop some diamonds. Now, only dropped 1 in this instance. That would have been bad, but fortunately we did find them. But as we can see, we've got no boots. We've now got some vitality, some move speed, another 18% toughness, and some damage now because we've socketed that gem. Yeah, they're not bad. A little bit more toughness here as well. So let's go mop up that last bounty. We can also train our follower. We're going to put the cheat death on. We'll be optimistic. He's going to die a lot. When the Templar's dead, those skills don't work. But we're going to see if we can get lucky. So we've got 4 more iron walls to find, and then we're done. And this is already feeling a little easier now that we've picked up those extra items from the Zoltan Cool. So that's why saving it is also kind of helpful. But as I said earlier, if you get stuck at like level 10 or level 8 and you just can't get any further, you can try and pop it to see if you get some stuff. But I really would recommend leaving it until 18. And I've forgotten to put the Golem passive on, which we should have done at that point as well. So let's try and see if we can get this guy free. And then once we've got him free, we'll put the Golem passive on and change the rune as well, because those two things should have been done when we last stopped. The game will do things like this to you when you want to do this like Iron Wolf. It just chucks an elite with Desecrator. Unfortunately, it's just slow because we need our Golem to come back round. We can even tickle the guy, unfortunately. We can try and be sneaky and use our pets that aggro and then just get it like that. So that is an option, but you're not always going to be able to do that. Maybe he'll drag down and we'll damage him later, but I think we probably just want to ignore him because he's going to be difficult to kill. And again, he's prevented us from actually changing the Golem runes because we're not going to, whilst our pets are attacking things, we are technically in combat and we can't change anything. We just need one of these guys to die, and then hopefully that will allow more to die, which will allow more to die. Spinner's hurt, guys. Well, I said no more deaths. We came pretty close then. Let's dump the golem on this dude's ass. Right, pets are aggrooming again, so we can use that little trick, and we're just going to go for the capture. It's certainly irritating me. Right. One more dude. Right, now, this we should have done it earlier. Bloody mess on corpse explosion. We're going to go Enforcer on the skellies just to reduce the cost. We may as well put any room we've got on bone armor. Extra passive is Commander of the Risen Dead, which we should have had on earlier. I still think we'll keep on the globes. You can go for the standalone for a little bit of armor, but we've got so many pets, it's not really worth it. And then Flesh Golem, which opens up, I think, 18 or 19, means we get more stuff. So we should be good to go now. Just 2 more of these dudes to free. Unfortunately, it's right next to the Key Guardian, but both of them are kind of next to each other. So we'll just, I guess, try and make a pile of corpses here and then just try and blow stuff up. And concentrate on the enemies that look like they've got low health, because if we can get a few of them together, then so much the better. There you go, we killed the Key Warden. Not of any benefit whatsoever. But again, white items, we'll pick them up. They'll come in handy later. We assure you they will. If we can get off the captures whilst the pets do stuff again, then we'll do that. That's a weapon, so theoretically it might have helped us out for this very last little bit, but not so. Right, and that is it done. We picked up a ring as well, which is good. So yeah, we should be good. Now, talk to Tyrael, grab the bounty chest. Now, we're going to pop 2 yellow and 2 blue into the cube, and what that's going to do is that's going to prevent us from accidentally salvaging all the stuff that we need. We don't need that. And saying that, we might be able... Oh no, we don't need that for conversion, do we? And we can't break it down. We're going to pop our little chest that we got. We get a legendary. Woohoo. Unfortunately, it's a Demon Hunter one, but it is a Forgotten Soul, which is handy. But this is it, guys. This is why we did this, the Death's Breath. Also, it's important to note we get quite a decent amount of gold from that, so that is going to be handy because making items initially in the game is expensive. What we need to do now is we need to train up 1 level only of the jeweler. That is so that we can combine our 2 diamonds that we should have collected from the Zoltan Cool chest, or we got from our gem goblin, and that allows us to go and plug into the cube, and we should have enough materials, I think, to get the second node now, which is that no item, or items have no level requirement. And now this is just a question of how high can we train Hadrig and how much stuff can we get off him. So I think we've got 30 bloodshots. That must have been from playing this season, because I don't think we killed Bloodshot Goblin. Now we're just going to train him up as high as we can. Okay, now we've got 1 or 2 levels to go. We don't have the gold to do any higher, so at this point we can either spend some of these materials here and make basically the best thing that we can, and that will help this next piece. So it would be about half of our veiled crystals. This is a balance because we do want these materials and we want to save them, but also we kind of want to make some progress. So I'm going to go for it. You can leave this step until if you want to do it later, but this is like a 3000% damage increase, so we should now be able to do like Torment 6 maybe. Always have a little look at it. This has got cooldown and damage against elites. That's pretty crap. We would like intelligence and vitality, but we're going to be dumping that at some point anyway, so maybe we'll try Torment 6. Is obviously going to be the best in terms of damage, but we're going to get completely wiped out. So we're going to take a view here. I'm going to try 4 to start off with. Now, what we're going to do now is we've got to go get the cube, because that's on the list of stuff to do. And we need to do some Visions of Enmity so that we can get materials and stuff like that. And the other thing that is good to do is going to be Cursed Chests. So that can be in the Temple of the Firstborn, or we can do the actual bounties for them. So I think we need two more trainings of Hadrig, and he will be maxed out. So we've probably got like a level 50 weapon or something like that at the moment. It's still going to be pretty OP, but we might well have to drop this down to like Torment 2 as we go. But so long as we can kill something once, then we can get the corpse explosion. Now, my rule for this really is if I can one hit or very, very close to one hit, so like basically 2 hit something with the bone spear, then I'm playing at the right level. So I think that was 1 too high, because I think it was 3 bone spears. So 3 should be good for a little while. Again, elites are just going to be a problem. Right, so we've got a vision there. That's not too helpful. We need to remember it's there just in case we want to come back to it. But we might just try and spawn another one. Similarly, again, chests will open just to see what we get. We're looking for the second level, Ruins of Sacheron, to obviously go get the cube. And the least number of like elites that we can bump into, the better really. If we can get our bone armor stacks up to 30%, then that will help us just avoid being completely obliterated to bits by one shot. You don't need to worry too much about getting pools of reflection because you'll outgrow them with a few kills, so you don't need to go out of your way to go get those. I mean, it's not like it does any harm, but just the benefit, it really isn't like massive. If you pick something up that you think might be an improvement, just stick it on. Decided to finish that bounty because it's worth like a decent amount of gold to us, and gold is what we needed to do the next Hadrig train anyway, and we seem to be very slowly looping our way around to the second part of this, the Elder Sanctum. Right, because we're past level 30, we've got another passive. We're going to go for the life per kill, and I think the rest of this stuff is decent, but we're going to swap bone armor onto dislocation, and then the rest of this I think we're okay with because the radius is the best, I think, for corpse explosion. Early doors. Again, keep picking up those white items. They will come in handy a little bit later. Down here, it is possible to get like a 300 kill streak, provided you get a little bit of luck in changing the enemies together. Of course, this is with the benefit of no season theme, which for 35, we would be getting move speed with all these kills. So I think keeping these massacre bonuses, the leveling is going to be a little bit easier. Of course, if you're not doing this on season 35, well, you might have a separate season theme that is helping you out. But this is filmed on 34. We've got the angelic crucibles, which obviously we won't see pre-70. So when we see armor axe, if we can remember to pop them, then again they've got really high chance of dropping the white items for us, which I'm going to sound a little obsessive about, but you will see why later on. Quite often at the end of this map there is a cursed chest, not like 100%, but it's got a decent spawn rate. There we go, we're past 300 kills as well, so that's handy. We should get a decent amount of XP by the end of this on Torment 3. Level 41, we just missed this little enemy here before the timer ran out. Otherwise, we maybe have been able to chain this into like a 400-500 one had we got the chest at the end. So this is the general path up here and into here. We didn't get the chest as it turned out, but never mind. We now have Kanai's cube. You need to remember to click this. I once ran it all the way down here, forgot to click it, and it ended, and that was pretty bad. Nice amulet for us, nice pair of braces, nice chest plate, and as you can see, we're certainly making progress. We've got some gold, not enough to do Hadrig the full way, so we will have one more level after this. Very easy to forget this last level, which we're not going to do. Now, we can either go and do the Temple of the Firstborn, but I think given that we need gold, the best thing to do is to now look for cursed chests, because if they are the bounty, then we're going to get a decent amount of gold with them. So what does looking for cursed chests mean? All it means is basically going on the map, and if any of these things say cursed, then we will go and do them. So the cursed caldera is an option. The cursed spire is an option. The best ones generally are a few in Act 1. So Cathedral level 3, I think, or maybe level 2 actually. Old Ruins is quite good. That's got a good one in there. You'll get to know them. There's one on the Fields of Misery, which is decent. But let's go and try the cursed. What do we have? Let's go do the cursed spire, because I'm pretty sure that's an easy one. So there's a bit of RNG in this in terms of how far we have to go to get to the cursed chest event. Sometimes we're very, very close. This one's not too bad. And all that this is going to do is it's going to give us a really nice source of enemies to blow up with our corpse explosion. T3 might be too hard at the moment, but we only need 30k gold, and we should get a good chunk of that from just doing the bounty alone. Never mind what drops from any of these enemies. We're not going to pick up yellow items. We don't really need those. It is just white is what we're interested in. Again, try and ignore the elites, because of course the main thing that's going to make the difference here is getting this gold, because if we can get that, then we can go and train Hadric. Now, these enemies are a little bit tough. They will pretty much one-shot us, so we're going to go down to Torment 2, hit revive, and we're going to see if we can get bone armor off, and then as long as there's enemies for us to blow up, we should be okay. If we drop vitality on a weapon, this would be easier, and we could still be doing Torment 3. Again, when we get to Hadric fully trained, we're really hoping for a level 70 with vitality on, because it does just make these things much, much easier. We've got a vision of enmity as well. That's quite important for us. This is going to be very useful, because we're going to, once we've done this, port back to town, train Hadric for the final time, I hope. And then that might well be job's a good one, and then we can jump in that vision and run it on like this difficulty, and it should be a bit of a breeze. So we still don't have a good hat, slightly better chest plates, better trousers for us, so let's just chuck those in. And we have got enough money to train Hadric now finally, so let's do that. He's max. Now we want to do a scythe here, guys, because if we do end up with 25 DBs, then we can upgrade it. So a nice 400% damage increase. That should allow us, I think, to do the vision fairly comfortably. Now it hasn't got vitality on it, so we can do a roll of it if we want to try and get the vitality, but we will have to train the Mystic. We only have to train once, fortunately. Now we don't have much in terms of Veil Crystals. We also don't have much in terms of gold, so we might have to wait on that. The next quest is going to be to basically do a Sage's set. We don't have the pieces for that at the moment, so I think we'll do a level 70 chest armor, because that's not going to get in the way, and we're just really hoping for main stat vitality, which we do indeed guess. So let's pop that on, and then once we've done this vision, we should hopefully have enough stuff to convert. Like, we need basically 300 of these reusable parts so that we can convert 100 to arcane dust and 100 to veil crystals. We do need some death breaths for that as well, so we're going to go jump in that vision. Beforehand though, we're going to turn the skeletons off, and we're going to go for blood rush. We just need to swap the rune to molting in a couple of levels, but that should be fine. We're also going to swap over to standalone, because we've only got the one pet now, so that's going to be handy. Now this might still be a little tough for us in terms of surviving. Damage should be pretty easy, because it is Torment 3. We're level 47, and we do have a level 70 weapon. But of course, explosions, they'll kill us. Good chance of legendary items in here, which is nice, and that will help us again once we get to 70. So same as before, white items will pick up, and we don't want to be dropping that. White items will pick up, legendary items of course will pick up, and we can mask a bonus in here as well. The benefit is there for us. Now, it's possible to get goblin fields, it's possible for anything really. We can get anything that is in the Necro loot pool. We've got an okay-ish chance of dropping, but ultimately getting to the end of this is going to give us the bounty mats, which we'll need. Importantly as well, we could really do some DBs. That's really random, so they will drop on normal difficulty, Visions of Enmity. So it's just totally, completely mercy of RNGs as to whether you get any Death Breath. I don't think playing it on any higher difficulty seems to make a difference, but the floors, of course, with loads of blue elites in, are probably your best chance. So grab up all these greys and then bounce to the next floor. Right, we can now get the corpse generation rune on, so if we get a chance to stop before the next floor, that's what we'll do. And then we've got the ability to do at least one small corpse generation ourselves. And it'll make a decent difference. Pick up those wrist guards. This is what we wanted. Floor full of blues, just to see if we could get the Death Breath. We don't. We do get a legendary pair of braces though, which are handy for leveling. These give XP with gold pickup, And we've got the legendary ring as well. So I'm guessing both of these things will be handy for us. It's got cold skills. We're not using a cold skill, but again, not worth doing anything with it. As in not worth putting the cold rune on the corpse explosion, I don't think. I'd still rather have the bigger radius. Now, sometimes you're going to get runs like this where you do like a bunch and you don't get your death's breaths from it. But there we go. See, if you complain, the game does listen. I think it was maybe the goblin that we killed that gave us. So, nice amount of bounty mats there. We still only have the 1 DB though, but that might be enough, I think, for now. So let's go back to town and see what we can craft. So unfortunately, guys, because we only found the 1 DB, we're still stuck on the conversion. We can't get that done at the moment. So we're just going to make a new game and look for some more cursed chests. We're going to try this Cursed Realm one in Act 4. Unfortunately, it looks miles away. So sometimes if you spawn in and they are absolutely miles away, you can just bin it off and go to the temple and then reset the game and look for one of the juicier chests, because what you don't want to be doing is spending loads of time walking about. It's far more efficient to just kind of blow stuff up here. But we need the vision. The vision's like what's holding us up now, because with that we'll be able to get a DB. Once we've got that, we can convert, and then that should allow us to make at least 1 piece of the sages and maybe 2. And ultimately, we kind of want to get to 3, because that will allow us to have the double DBs if we so happen to go back into a vision, or once we get to like 61 and we start potentially dropping those things. It'll be handy for when we go and do the bounties as well. We're at the end of the map on this one. No cursed chest, so we're going to remake the game and look for either doing this zone again or those delicious cursed chest events. We've got the Cursed Eternal chest in the Ruins of Sescheron, so we'll go do that one, because again, I think this is a fairly nice one. We didn't get the vision spawn in the last run of the temple either. Just annoying. It's just RNG, just going to be patient. It will come eventually, and there we go, right next to each other, so I guess that's good. Now, this is debatable. Do you want to go for the cursed chest, or do you want to just simply jump into the vision? I think we'll do the cursed chest and then go in, because we want to get levels as well. That's part of the thing that we're looking for. And yeah, there is an argument we should just jump straight into the vision and just try and get that extra level 70 item, try and up the difficulty. But I think whilst we've got it here, it's so close, I feel like we may as well. We got rewarded with a couple of nice pieces there, so much the better. And there we go, that is the DB that we needed. So we don't need to worry too much about finishing this, because again, we're looking to really crank the difficulty up if we can. Now, this is why we saved those items, just so that we don't accidentally run out of items. All we're going to do is we're going to go to convert reusable parts, plug in one of the yellows, and it looks like we don't have quite enough from the white yet, so we'll pop the blue back in there, and once we've done this vision, I think we should be enough, because we only probably need like two more white items maybe, that would be 1. Now, if you get the key warden like this, the key guardians, I'd recommend just dropping the difficulty, because taking on 3 at once is stupidly hard. And again, similarly to earlier, they really have got the same chance of dropping the keys, I think, regardless of difficulty. So that was fairly handy. Stone gauntlets are a rubbish item to use leveling. Don't put those on. They will make you not move at all. Again, we haven't had much luck. We haven't found a helmet with a socket yet, which of course would help us out. There we go. It was the goblin anyway. Oh, look at that. He's given us absolutely nothing. Still, I think it's probably better than wasting a load of time killing those guardians. Now, we've got a Greater Rift key. That's important, because that's going to help us out, because we will be looking to maybe unlock the next node of the altar. Right, so we've got a lack of blues now, so we're going to go do that convert in a cube, then that should help us out. So convert reusable parts, plug in the blue, there we go. Now we should be able to craft a level 70 Sage's belt, which is good. Whether we get another Sage's piece, we do just have enough. We're going to be dry on reusable parts, funnily enough, after this. But it's fine because Sage's 2-piece, again, it's going to give us a load of damage, a load of toughness. It's going to add main stat to us as well. So we just need one more, which would be Sage's gloves. So all we need is another 9 reusable parts, and then that should be good. So we're going to try and go back up to like maybe Torment 3 and see how that is. Or maybe try to 5. And if it's too hard, we can always go back down. So just back to the Temple of the Firstborns. Now we don't need to worry about those cursed chest bounties because we've maxed gold out pretty much. This is going to look doable as long as we've got enemies to kill. If we don't have enemies to kill, then we might have to go down to 4. But we've got lucky and we've got the event right here. So I think we roll with it. And if it gets too hard, just drop it down. And there we go, level 63, not bad. And this hat here probably allows us to make the final Sage's piece, which is a pair of gloves. And we got ancient ones with nice crit damage. Yeah, we can chuck this set over to the follow when we're done, but we now get double DBs, which is going to be handy. Right, I think what we're going to do is we're going to leave on 5. We want 2 more levels, guys, to 65, and then we're going to go off and do our bounties and not pop them open until we get to 70. So we're going to go to the temple again, do one more run, and then we need to drop the difficulty way down just so that we can kind of get the bounties done. It's like kind of balancing those two things, but also while still getting XP, because we kind of really, now we've been going an hour, we need to start working on the rest of this season journey, and the bounties of course take the most amount of time. And we're struggling to get through this, so I think we're just going to lower this down to 4 and hope that we can generate corpses just that little bit faster. There you go, that's one of the levels done. That's very kind of Moira offering me a boost, but no, thank you. I am trying to do some leveling practice, and we are rewarded with the cursed chest for luck. And we got the level anyway. No thanks. Leveling practice. Smiley face. Right, so next thing, guys, is we're going to do the bounties so that we have got those open now. I think probably kind of like Torment 1 is going to be about the max for this, and I strongly suspect we're going to lower this down even further. Yeah, we're going down to Master, and in fact, let's go down to Hard, with a view to even crushing this down to Normal, because all we really need to do is get these done and gain basically 3 levels. I think 4 sets of bounties should be about the right amount. But there we go, the Sage's set already working hard for us because we've just hit 2 DBs instead of 1. Now, the bosses might take a little bit of time, so what I would suggest doing is probably doing all the bosses that you need to do first, rather than gaining the levels. Well, didn't we just put the golem in a bad place there? So again, they can drop DBs now, these bosses, which is handy. Again, they'll come in handy later. Ooh, I've got a 200 scythe. Nice. The bone spear one. To make this usable, we would have to go extract it in the cube, which might well be worth doing. So Act 4 boss is done. Let's go kill Gome. There's a few of these things that need doing after 70, like Malthiel and Ishwell, but Gome is a plus 60 one, so this also is taking something off the list that we need to do for that pesky season journey. Oh, and we missed that. We missed that person. Now, I don't think we can go up and out this way, but I just don't want to make a complete idiot of myself in case I'm wrong, which it looks like I might be. Yeah, I get confused on this one because I always think the corner is the end, but it isn't. Now, we're going to miss the elite because I really want to have my golem go. Now, Pool of Reflection is useful. No, I was right the first time. This is not the correct way. Again, we're not going to backtrack. We're just going to teleport back to the start and go the right way this time. I should have been more confident in myself. Now, there is a risk to doing it like this and doing the bosses first, in that if the game disconnects, you could end up with all the bosses done and you've wasted your bounties. Not really much I can say about that. It is slightly risky, but I still think it's probably going to be a little bit faster rather than like getting up to level 70, which will just increase their difficulty a little bit. And I think we will extract the bone spear thing into the cube, because bone spear hitting with a bunch more % damage I think will just help us generate corpses faster. So Act 1 boss is done, Act 3 boss is done. Let's do them in order. I don't think we've actually spawned a proper boss in Act 4. Malthiel is 70, so we'll try and leave him for last because we might be able to go kill him. So let's mop up the Act 1 bounties and see where we are. DBs, we need one more before we can do the extracting anyway. So we are going to wait on that a little bit. And there we go, level 67. So just 3 more to go. And we're not going out of our way to try and keep kill streaks going, but if they're here for free, we're not going to turn them down. And there we go, that is the last DB that we need. Now, I might not extract the Altorius Spike because, again, not everyone's going to get lucky, but there's plenty of things that we could have found in those visions earlier. We could have found the Corroded Fang is a good one. The Blood-Tied Blade, I think, is early, or maybe it's a Funerary pick. Point is, there's lots of Necro items that you can find. Now, the reason we're leaving these bounties for 70 is because at 70, jeweler plans drop, and that just saves us a bit of a headache and having to go and collect gold later. Because with gold, we can buy basically plans, but if we don't have to go and worry about that, then I think that's sensible. Now, annoyingly, we've missed an enemy somewhere. They were hiding in the corner. On to the next one. There we are, back up Curse Chest. This is a decent one, Chamber of Bone, if you are looking for those Curse Chests earlier on. And level 68, just 2 more levels to go, so pretty confident we'll get these busted out when we complete these bounties. This is a super annoying one, killing 100 enemies in this zone. It is annoying, there never seems to be enough. We're going to take a little bit of a chill out down here and just see if we can guess any stragglers before we head up into the next zone. Now, another use of the Death's Breaths is that we could unlock the next node in the altar, which would give us 10% move speed. So maybe we should do that, as that's probably much more likely than actually finding a legendary two-handed scythe. But we still need one more to drop, and then we would be able to go and do that. And obviously it would make the bounties faster. Right, now Act 1 is done. We're not going to go collect it. We're going to go and mop up Act 3. Now at this point, there's probably not much point crafting anything else level 70, just simply because we're so close that we're going to start finding level 70 gear, and it's probably not the best use of mats. So we're just going to kind of crack on with these bounties and just try and see if we can get these done as quickly as we can. And this is the last catapult, so on to the next one, which is Caverns of Frost. We may as well look out for Chiltara whilst we're in here. Now, I believe she can only spawn on level 2, but I have heard some people say it can be level 1. And there we go, our first set item, which is a Blackthorn pair of boots. And there's Chiltara. Can we get the Gibbering Gemstone for the video for the lols? No, thank God. I think I would have been pretty pissed off to have found that on my first try in a leveling playthrough. Level 69, just one more to go, and then we can start popping these bounties that we've got, because they might contain useful info and items. Now, it's a balance really. We possibly could have set off for the bounties at level 64, but I think the thing you wish to avoid is to being at level 68 and all the bounties done, because then you're probably going to be forced to collect them or spend an inordinate amount of time leveling those last 2 levels. That's Act 3 done, so we may as well move on and do Act 4. And there we go, we've just picked up the last DB, so let's go get the move speed, because I kind of want to show you what we would have done with that had we found those Death's Breaths earlier, which we could extract the Meltorius, but as I say, I think most people won't find something cool to do, so we're going to just simply go here, use that key that we found in the Echoing Nightmares, Vision of Enmity, always get those two mixed up, and go for move speed. Now, this does mean that we will need to go and do a rift to get another key, or to jump into some visions, but again, I think we're probably unlucky to have only got the 1 key out of Nightmares. I've normally got 5 or 6 by the time I've leveled to 70, so again, I think this has possibly been just a little bit of an unlucky run. Now, another bounty done, and we're very, very nearly at 70, which is good, because we are running out of these, although we'd still do have the Act 5 ones. But yeah, almost there. Probably been doing, I think we're going about an hour and 35 at this point. Bear in mind I've stopped to explain a few things, and we've pretty much got 4 out of the 5 bounties done on a level 70. I think that's pretty decent, and hopefully this will prove useful to at least one person on the internet. Now, one of the thing is the passives for the Necro. We've still got the health globe thing on, which I've just been thinking about. It's probably a bit of a mistake. We probably should have swapped that over onto Fueled by Death to get a little bit more move speed when we blew up the corpses. So I think we'd possibly be shaving like a minute or 2 off where we are had we made that swap when we stopped to do the bounties. Pool of Reflection we'll grab, that'll do us till 70. And then once we've done this bounty, I think we should be there. And then we'll go and pop our reward chests. Like, it's good habits still to be collecting those items from the armor racks and stuff, but obviously I'm not going to play this character past getting the 6-piece. This is just for illustration, but if you're here, you may as well, because at Torment 16, those things don't grant any extra resources. It is literally just what is there. This is another Cursed Chest event, as we were talking about them earlier. It's generally a bit of a far away one to get to, this one, but still, it's juicy and you can get it done. It's not like it's full of spear chuckers on the way or anything like that, but these big things are pretty grim to kill. So again, it's probably towards the bottom of my list of the ones that I like to do. But of course, when completing your sets of bounties for the season journey, you just have to take what you give him. That's just life. Life gives you lemons, yeah, make a lemonade. And there we go, level 70. Now, we could just rush to 70. I think that could be done in like 45 minutes or so. But I think ultimately we kind of want to be progressing with the season journey, but getting to 70 doesn't really do as much. We do just need to start getting the bits that we need to complete things and get our suited and booted character ready to rock and roll. Of course, we do start gaining Paragon points now. Any blood shards that we had, we could now start spending at 70 just to give us the level 70 items. And any Paragon points are going to go into move speed. Now, post 70 and post the completion of the bounties, we only really have to get to Torment 4 difficulty. That's going to be extremely easy, barely an inconvenience. All we need to do is do 2 Greater Rifts to get the Lord Gem if we get stuck, and that would be handy. Of course, what we're going to do is we're probably going to extract the Maltorius into the cube as soon as we can do, and that'll be fine. Now, you might want to hang on to these boots at some point because the Sage's set would not work with the Lord Gem if you were going that way, so they'd probably be worthwhile sticking in the stash just to see. Now, we can get these bounties now and collect them up, and they should, I think, have a jeweler plan inside them. So that was 1, that was 3, and then we need to do number 4, and when we pop these, they should have plans inside. Now, we will still be 1 plan short, but that's okay because we can certainly buy that with the gold that we will get past 70. Unfortunately, my macro and my mouse seems to disable, so I'm having to do this old school and pick them all up individually. Any Paragon points, they're just going to go into move speed. We're just going to put them into crit chance, and then we're going to put them into probably it doesn't really matter, armor. We've only got to get to time. We'll pick up radius. We're just looking for the utility stuff. At 70, we get another passive, so let's go for that Fueled by Death, as we were talking about a couple of moments ago, and I think that should be good. So that is Act 1, 3, and 4 done. We did 2 at the start of the game, so we just have to do number 5 now. So we may as well leave Malthael to last, because then we will have some Paragon points and maybe some better items, because he still can be a little bit of a pain in the bum. Even on hard, it could be a pain in the bum. So we'll leave him to last, because that makes the most sense. There we go. We just whacked a goblin, and that has given us the last plan that we needed anyway. So we collected up the 3 jeweler plans from the Torment 16 bounties. That's why we left them to level 70. And that goblin means that we don't have to stress about buying anything. We can just simply go and get that done. And now we are actually at 70. We don't really care about anything, so I'm going to drop the game to normal just so that we can get through these bounties just that little bit faster. Let me find some better gear pieces just in time to go and fight Malthael for the last bounty. This is taking a little longer than I would have liked, but hey, it's going to be done. And then this is 90% of this is getting these bounties done and getting to 70. The rest of the stuff is pretty pimpsy in comparison. And we also collect the plans for Reaper's Wraps, I think, which will be very handy, of course, for the Altar of Lights later on in our character. There we go, that's the plan. And once we open this bounty, we should be done with gem plans as well. Helm of Command. I remember buying one of those off the auction house. My god, that was a long time ago. Right, now we have amassed 25 Death's Breaths since we've done those bounties. What I'm going to do is, rather than extract the Maltorius, I'm just going to simply upgrade the one that we've got. The reason I'm going to do this, even though it's not going to be our main character, it's still going to really help us because it's going to be a decent damage increase. And we've basically got a poison one. So what we're going to do is we're just going to basically go along here, pick bone pillars for the poison. Blighted Marrow is already poisoned, so that's good. And we want to change our corpse explosion to shrapnel or close quarters. I think we'll go for close quarters. So we should be doing a bunch more damage now. So all we have to do is go off and do the kind of regular stuff that we've got to do. So RNA is done, Gome is done. So I think we need to go and do Sidea and the Skeleton King. So let's get on and go and do those. Again, difficulty doesn't matter for these. We just have to go and get it done. Of course, we do have bone armor as well, which is another poison skill for us. So hopefully this will speed up any kind of like damage for us because we've got the Nair's Black Death. This is what will help us do Torment 4. Like we could have got Rylena's Shadow Hook, which would have been extra damage based on max essence. We could have got the Blood type Blade, which would have given us like a multiplicative damage depending on how many enemies are within 40 yards, I think. Stacking up to like 4,000%. We could have got a level 70 of the Maltorius, which would have been fine. That would buff up the Bone Spear for us. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. We got the worst possible roll on that nurse as well, 75%. It does go up to 100, but at the end of the day, it's going to be useful for us, and we don't need to stack any more than the 4 skills. That should be fine. I'm going to pop the golem down here, just ready for when Lazy Bum gets up. That's graphic. Okay, next is Sidea, which is here. Bit of a pain, this one. It's quite far away, but again, it needs doing. If you want to know how I know what we need to do, I've got D3 season tracker up on my other monitor, but you just have to press Shift J and that'll get you to your season journey, and it will show you what needs to be done. Right, so Shift J, we need to do a Nephilim Rift. We need to raise the Jeweler and Mystic to level 10. And yeah, that's it. So let's go back to town. Let's do those two. In terms of the Rift, the hardest that we have to do is Torment 1. We might be able to get through that at the moment, but it probably is the last thing that we should be trying to do. So there we go. You do need DBs to do this as well. For the Jeweler, so you just need to make sure that those things are done. So all we've got to do now for this next part is do the Rift. There's no point doing multiple ones that because we'd have to do it on Expert and do it again. So we've got fully cut the Follower, craft the level 70 item, replace an item property. So I guess let's get rid of revive damage on here. There we go, some main stat, that'll do, very nice. We have to transmog something, so same item. There we go, that's those two things done. So chapter 1 is done, bar the Rift. Chapter 2, we need the Follower fully equipped and then a level 70 ring or amulet. Again, this should be pretty straightforward. Got the gems, got the materials. So that is that. It is an upgrade, which is happy days. Mr. Follower, generally speaking, you won't have a token for him, so you'll have to craft one. So just go here, Templar Relic. You should have materials left by the time you're getting to 70. Now, he's obviously got absolutely nothing. It can be the case that he will wear most of your stuff. Obviously, weapon is going to be a problem for him because he's not going to have one. So again, we'll fix that. We've picked up some blood shards, so you could roll those as an example. You could have perhaps hung on to something. Let's do a... And you can always craft as well. So let's just do him a shield, which is easy. That was part of the season journey as well. Spend the blood shard. So let's do him a one-handed sword, I think. Obviously, we don't wish to pick any of the expensive ones. Again, if we had shards, we could maybe roll them. So that's him done. We, of course, want all our gear back off him. So I think that was all those things. And there we go. We look super juiced up again. So that is chapter 1 done, bar the Rift. Chapter 2 done, bar the Rift. Chapter 3, we need to craft an Imperial. We need to go and kill Malthiel Master. Damn, forgot about that. Well, we weren't going to leave it on Master anyway, so I guess let's make a diamond. Doesn't matter, don't care. That's that done. So Malthiel Master, I guess that's probably the next thing to do. It should be doable. And then we've got Iswell as well. We've got to extract cube power. So I don't think we've got the DBs actually to do the extract. So Iswell is Act 4 up here. So let's go do him. And then we can go do Melthiel. And we might pick up some DBs along the way, which obviously would be handy. But we just hit 2 hours and we're really mopping up the last, I think, of the season journey, which is pretty good. Now, goblins are worthwhile going for if we were short of DBs. Again, we could maybe have not got the 10 move speed. So again, that's potential something to do. But we just found 2 there, so that's pretty handy. Now, Iswell is part, of course, the Staff of Herding, so he drops the plan for it. So again, you might get lucky as you're doing your season journey. And then that's 1 thing less for your staff or the altar. Now with the Nares, it's probably best stacking the poison damage up to like 3 or 4 stacks before trying to blow up the corpses, just because that way they'll do a lot more damage. And also don't stand next to Israel because he will freeze you like a little bitch. Right, I think we just go straight into Melthiel because he should be, I think, pretty doable with this character. And I think if you can beat Melthiel on Master, you should be pretty confident at handling a T1 Rift as well. Well, that wasn't too bad in the end. So again, just the Rift now for chapter 3, is it? Yeah. So then chapter 4 is just basically the end. Reforge a socket, and then we've got to up the game eventually to T2 and then to T4. So let's go do the T1 Rift because I think that's going to be the next thing in the queue. Now we need to do an extract as well anyway, so that's going to work out pretty good because that's going to combine our Maltorius with our poison damage. So we're just awaiting the 1 Death Breath for that. But remake the game, Torment 1, and then we should knock out a whole bunch of these season journey things all in one go. Now if you get that map, just quit. It's terrible. Just make a new game. Not much better, but certainly better. And yeah, Torment 1, absolutely no problem. And once we get the Bone Spear thing extracted, then Torment 4 will also be absolutely no problem. Now, of course, you're not all going to get super luck with like what drops. You will have a modifier from doing an upgrade. One might drop. If it doesn't, I did mention that you can go and do 2 Greater Rifts and pick yourself up the Legacy of Dreams gem. That is always an option, and that'll give you a modifier. You just need to make sure that you've got no set item bonuses. You can use set items, you just can't have the bonuses from. So 1 piece of sages and 1 piece only. Right, conduit pylon, let's grab that. Thank you very much. There we go. There are 2 DBs, which again come in super handy for us because that means we can do the extract and not worry ourselves about anything. So that'll be straight up to Torment 2 to go kill Diablo. And again, guys, with the season theme on top, this will be so much easier for you. Not that it's particularly difficult, but you'll be flying through it, no problems. Another point as well is if you had gotten yourself to 70 and you weren't very happy with the jewelry that you found, I haven't had cause to look at it because it's gone fine. But you can buy stuff from vendors. Again, with sockets if you wanted to get those legendary gems in. And so forth. Now we need to hang on to a weapon like that because we're gonna have to re-roll a socket. That can take like 10 or 20 goes. So hopefully we don't run out of mats before we get it. But you don't want to be doing that on a legendary because that's very expensive. Oh my god, what is this map? This is the game punishing me for rejecting that awful first map, isn't it? There we go. A nice Greater Rift key for us. Again, we only really want to do 1 Rift, which is the GR20 solo. So we are going to have to come back and do a Torment 4 Rift again later. You can maybe skip this Torment 1 Rift, I suppose, to save a little bit of time. I just completely forgot that we won't be able to go and do GR20. We're going to have to do Torment 4 first. So bit of a whoopsie on my part. So let's do the extraction now because that seems to make sense. In she goes to the cube. Now, of course, we are getting the rewards now for this. We don't want to collect them on the Necro. Because that's not going to be the class we're playing. We're going to go and play something else. But now we should absolutely shred. So yeah, I guess maybe we'll just go and do a T4 Rift. Or maybe go do Diablo on Torment 2. Again, you may as well just leave the game on the whatever the difficulty is to get the stuff done. Leave it on that. We're just trying to get this done ASAP. So reforge the socket. I think I've just salvaged that weapon, haven't I? That was pretty silly. So we need to... oh no, I didn't. Let's get that done before we forget. And then we can salvage the stuff. That is the wrong person. We need the Mystic to do re-rolling, not Hedrig. Intelligence. We just want socket, please. I always feel like it's easier if you get a weapon with main stat on, like this one, to roll the socket. I don't know if that's true, but I always feel like it's easier. Proof in the pudding. We've got about 20 goes at this. It can take a while. There we go. Do. Going to put all that stuff in the bin. It's making us hang on to these because we re-rolled them and got gems in. Don't worry about it. No problem. Right. Any shards I get for the Necro at 70 at this point, you can either save them for your level 70 character. I will generally try and roll for the move speed boots because they just make you so super fast. I'm not interested in an RS boot, so I'm just going to salvage those. And off we set to go kill the Lord of Terror. The bone spin now should be pretty much one-shotting everything, I think, because it's got poison. Not quite one-shotting. That guy's probably got a bit of health. We'll find out on Diablo. Corpse Explosion still rocks. But at least now we've got two ways of doing like a decent amount of damage. We've got Corpse Explosion and the Poison Bone Spear. So, yeah. Hopefully enough. Now, Diablo wasn't the bounty, but I'm guessing he's going to be either in this corner or completely back the other way. And maybe it loops up around here, which it does. Good. Although maybe we've gone back to connecting bits. Maybe this way. Again, no value for jumping in that vision at all. We just want to get this 6-piece bonus as quick as we can. There we go, Pinnacle of Heaven. So again, this might not be the fastest in the world, but it needs doing. And the only other option, as I said, is to go get that Lord Gem to give yourself a bit of a power kick. But I think we'll be okay without it on this particular run. It does show the value of Corpse Explosion because even with Maltorius, it still hits harder than the Bone Spear, which is just silly. Oh, well, that was unfortunate now, wasn't it? Again, not the fastest thing I've ever done, but still another thing off this list. So now I think the only thing to do is Torment 4, Belial, GR20 and the Key Wardens. Now this is a whole couple of tiers higher, but I think we're going to be okay. We just need stuff around the Guardians to blow them up. Belial is probably a bit more of a problem. That he's going to be a little slow, I think, because we are lacking a wee bit of damage. This guy, if he comes over here, would be really nice, because then we can just blow him up with the corpses, or at least chunk some of his health off with them. And having teleport's really useful, because when he locks you in position, you can just be like, nah, thanks, mate. I don't fancy it. Not into it. Now, you need to make sure you pick these bits up. You will need those later on for your Altar of Rights, but obviously for the getting the suit, we don't really need them. Probably worthwhile jumping in that just in case it was a goblin field. That's always a good general tip. But we can go and get Act 2 done now, I think. Oh, goodness me. It's funny how the quality of life things that they've put in the game, like the shoulders that mean you can't be interrupted, and crowd control with the altar, playing without them just feels so rotten. And that's the Act 2 dude done. So Act 3, and then we are going to have to go and do that rift again, as I say, because I made a slight whoopsie and forgot that we'd have to go do that. Large exhale there. Nearly there, guys. We're nearly, so nearly there. I think if you're on the season and you're doing this, you'd be getting very excited at this point because you're so super close. I feel less excited because I know this character is going in the bin as soon as I finish this. We have not successfully killed this guy. He didn't really seem to have as much trash around him as the last ones, and I think I'd forgotten to get my stacks up to 4 on the Nares as well, so he is taking a little bit more time. But we've remembered the stacks now. We've also got an elite mixed in, which is a bit annoying. But there he is, he's dead. So we could just let the elite kill us and teleport back to town, but I don't like dying, it annoys me. Let's add these Paragon points on, make us a little bit faster. Ignore that dude. So this just leaves Belial and the GR20. So let's go do Belial. I think it might just take me a couple of minutes to kill him. I don't think it poses much of a toughness threat because those Guardians, sometimes they will hurt a little bit. So I don't quite know. Maybe I've picked up a bunch of vitality on my stuff, but it didn't seem to hurt particularly much. So I think we can press on. It might just take a little bit of time, but it looks like it's going to be 2.5 hours, which I'd say is probably a fair time. Sometimes it's a little bit faster than that. Sometimes it can be a little bit slower. It kind of depends on your RNG. I think One of the things that really makes a difference is the bounties at the start. If you get rubbish ones of those, it can be super annoying. But I thought we got fairly okay ones, I think. One thing to bear in mind, if you are going the Lod route rather than doing what we've done, which is just use the Sages set and finding a couple of multipliers, you will possibly want to collect up the legendary items rather than salvage them along the way. Because of course, the more legendary items that you get, that harder that Lod gem works for you. Well, as predicted, that was just a little tedious because the damage isn't quite there, but faster, I think, than going and getting the Lod gem in this particular instance. So last thing, Torment 4 Rift, and then GR20, and we are at 6 piece, baby. Of course, the game trolls me. We get to the very end of our T4 Rift, and it's my least favourite map. This has been a little bit of a slog. We've got through it okay, but I think this is just a question of not really finding anything particularly useful post 70. Normally speaking, you find at least a couple of pieces that are like a good or legendary item that helps you out by this point, but this particular time we haven't. It's all RNG, but I think with the season theme, with a little bit of better luck, this would be faster, I think, than you're seeing on screen now, but still not too shabby, and gonna be happy with it. Super annoying being frozen, but at the end, we get the last laugh. So only thing now, GR20, and then we're done. And we actually get a nice map, so that is something as well. Now GR20 is actually easier than Torment 4. The game is not correctly coded in this regard. It's kind of like playing Torment 3.5. So if you can do your Torment 4 Rift, GR20, I generally don't think should be a problem. Unless you're relying on like Gold Wrap, Boon of the Hoarder. But even then, I still think if you've got the damage to clear the T4, you should be able to do 20. No problem. Yeah. We'll be done in a couple of minutes. I'd actually forgotten how much babysitting a Nair's build requires in terms of having to activate each individual poison skill every 14 seconds. I think this is where like Alrash Meteor is just way more fun, because once you've got your 4 stacks, then that's it. You're always kind of doing the damage. You just have to carry on playing and it just pumps out. Now, I guess there would be some who would say that it's better to have a more engaging playstyle. I'm lazy, so maybe not for me. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the Rift Guardian with one go of the Golem, but we're going to save it anyway for them. And if we get really lucky, we get the big rat guy, Hamlin, because he comes with lots of things to explode. Who did we get? Oh, look at that. We got our stacks up to 4, and there we go. Actually, finally, we get some legendary items. Not that we need them anymore. We do get the Boon of the Powerful. This is always the first gem out, and the second gem, I think, is always the Legacy of Dreams. You might get really unlucky, and it might be the third gem out, but I think that should be it. So this should be everything done now. Now, I'm going to collect these on my Necro, because I think I'm 99% sure I can collect them on the Necro and open them on another character. I know 100% if we went and made a Crusader and opened them, collected them and opened the Crusader, they would be Crusader stuff. But let's just see. So we've picked those up on the Necro. Let's make another character and see whether we do indeed get the set bonus. We'll go for a Witch Doctor. Everybody loves the Witch Doctor. We can't even spell. So there we go. And yes, indeed, we did get the Mundanugu set. That would be it, guys. That was 2 hours and 43 minutes. I'd say I spent probably a good 10 minutes maybe explaining stuff. So I'd say about 2.5 hours is going to be a par-ish time for that. I don't think we got any mega luck. I've definitely done that faster. If you use the challenge of cash, it will of course probably be about 30 minutes faster. If you get yourself a Bloodshot Goblin with the Corpse Explosion gloves, it probably will be about 30 minutes faster. Maybe we could have shaved 5 or 10 minutes off by not doing the Torment 1 Rift, albeit I think we did need some DBs at the time. But that's it, guys. All you would do now is obviously we can stick this stuff on, because that altar node, you would then go into Torment 6 and essentially power level yourself. A good little hack if you don't fancy leveling a Wizard, Barbarian or Demon Hunter, because they can be a bit tricky in comparison to Mr. Necro. Torment 4 is an absolute breeze with the Necro. So I do this method every single season. If I'm playing solo, I will level up my Necro, get to 70, do the season journey. It takes 2.5 hours, and I know that under 3 hours I can have any set fully 6-pieced out, and I just find it easier this way. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I've been the Filthy Casual. Take it easy. Peace.